Some places do not appear on maps, they appear when the heart is ready. Hidden just beyond the ordinary world, the Enchanted Tea Room welcomes those who arrive carrying grief, longing, unanswered questions, or a quiet ache they cannot name. Its door opens not by chance, but by need. The woman who could not grieve. The woman had not cried in 7 years, not at her husband's funeral, not when the house grew unbearably quiet, not when she packed his sweaters away one careful fold at a time. Grief, she had learned, could be managed if you kept it small enough. That was what she told herself as she walked the familiar road that afternoon, her coat buttoned too tightly, her breath shallow, as though she were bracing against something unseen. The sky hung low and gray, and the world felt muted, as if color itself had learned restraint. It was then she noticed the path. It curved gently away from the road, formed of smooth stones softened by time, bordered by tall grasses and herbs that stirred, though there was no wind. The air smelled faintly of lavender and something warm, like rain or sun-warmed earth. She stopped. The path had not been there before. "I don't have time," she murmured, more to herself than anyone else, but her feet did not move away, they moved forward. At the end of the path stood a small cottage wrapped in ivy and golden light, the Enchanted Tea Room. Its windows glowed as though a hearth burned inside, and for reasons she could not name, the sight of it made her chest ache, not sharply, but tenderly, like a bruise long pressed. She opened the door and stepped inside. Warmth met her at once. Not only heat, but something deeper, welcome perhaps. The room was hushed and softly lit, the walls lined with shelves of glass jars filled with herbs, roots, and petals. Each jar bore a handwritten label. The kettle hummed on the hearth like a living thing. A young woman stood behind the counter, her dark hair pinned loosely, and her eyes kind and attentive in a way that made the woman feel suddenly seen. "You're welcome to sit wherever you like," she said, her voice gentle, unhurried. The woman nodded, unable to speak just yet. She chose a small table by the window, where pale light fell across the worn wood. Her hands trembled slightly, and she folded them together in her lap, as if holding herself in place. From the corner of the room, an older woman looked up from arranging teacups. Her presence was quiet and steady, like something that had endured much and learned tenderness because of it. She offered a small smile, one that asked nothing. The grieving woman started to relax, just as the young woman, named Catherine, returned setting a cup before her. "I didn't order anything," the woman said quickly. "I was only—" "That's all right," Catherine replied. "This is especially brewed for you." The teacup was warm between her palms. Steam curled upward, carrying the scent of roses and chamomile, soft and comforting. "I don't usually cry," the woman said suddenly, the words tumbling out without permission. "I used to, but I stopped. I think something in me decided it was safer that way." Catherine did not rush to fill the silence. "You don't have to cry," she said at last. "You can just drink." The woman lifted the cup. The first sip was warmth and comfort, like a hug. The second sip took her into a vision. She was standing in her kitchen, bathed in late afternoon light. The window was open. A breeze moved the curtain just enough to let the sun spill across the floor. And there, at the counter, sleeves rolled up, humming softly and terribly off-key, stood her husband, alive. Not as he had been at the end, thin and tired, brave beyond measure, but as he had been before, strong, familiar, real. Her knees gave way, and she sank into the chair behind her, the grief she had locked away finally breaking free. The tears came hard and fast, deep, shaking sobs that left her gasping, clutching at her chest as though her heart itself had split open. He knelt beside her and rested his forehead against her hand. "You didn't lose me," he said gently. "You carried me forward." She wept until the tears slowed, until the ache softened into something quieter. something that felt like love remembered rather than love lost. When she opened her eyes, she was back in the Enchanted Tea Room. The cup before her was empty. Her cheeks were wet, her breath uneven, but her chest felt lighter, like something long held had finally been set down. Catherine stood nearby, pouring water into the kettle, her movements calm and reverent. "I thought if I let myself cry," the woman said slowly, "I would never stop." Catherine met her gaze. "Sometimes tears don't drown us," she said. "Sometimes they carry us back to what matters." The woman rose, surprised at the steadiness of her legs. At the door, she paused. "Will I remember?" she asked quietly. "Yes," Catherine said, "but it won't hurt the same." The path waited outside. When the woman looked back, the tea room seemed already softer at the edges, as though it knew its work was finished. That night at home, she placed her hand over her heart and spoke her husband's name aloud. It did not break her. Instead, it filled the room with warmth, like a cup of tea held just long enough to steady the hands.